Hello, welcome back to We Met Behind the Castle. I'm your host, Logan Stump, and I am jumping in here to recap all things D23. We've got a lot to discuss. I was live for the actual panel itself and reacting to it with Jordan, and we went through all of the announcements. We got tons for Walt Disney World, Disneyland. There is so much to cover for this panel and this D23. The Expo was a massive hit, I think. There were a lot of exciting things announced by Walt Disney Company for the parks, the destinations, cruise lines. We got all sorts of announcements that we're going to go through tonight, and we are going to discuss all those live and see what some of the reactions might be for some of the stuff that they announced. I think that we've got quite a bit that we can really talk about. I'm going to post this as a podcast as well, but I'm also live on YouTube and on TikTok. And we will be talking about all things D23 inside the Disney parks, outside the Disney parks, lots of things going on. Some major announcements this week as we got confirmation as to where Cars attractions are going to be in the Magic Kingdom. So we had a lot of discourse online that we've been following, a lot of different things that we can discuss here live. But I just wanted to welcome you all in. Thank you for watching. Thanks for joining. I'm excited about jumping into this. We'll go through quickly the different things that Disney did announce through D23 in the Experiences Showcase. The Experiences Showcase was on Saturday. Josh tomorrow got up live on stage and he announced things coming to the park, projects that they're working on. No longer blue sky. He got up online, or he got up on stage and said that they were not doing any kind of blue sky this time around, that there were shovels in ground, dirt being added, trailers being added, a lot of construction going on, and we're going to start to see some of this construction really ramp up. So really excited to see what all is going to take place over the next couple of months. We got a lot of things going on at Disney World that are going to open pretty quickly, and there's a lot of permits that have now been filed as far as Magic Kingdom is concerned. Still waiting for the shoe to drop over at Disney's Hollywood Studios. Where does the Monsters Inc. land join? Where do we land on that? What are some thoughts on some of the announcements that were made as far as Disney's Hollywood Studios? We have some international announcements, but not a ton, really. I mean, we got a couple of things. We got a couple night shows in the international parks. We got a couple of attractions coming to the Asian parks, but other than that, we really did not get a ton for the international parks. We did get some cruise line announcements, but here we are. We're going to discuss everything that we can possibly discuss from the experiences panel. Again, this is just a recap, and then I'll probably have my own videos and maybe some TikTok lives where we go and discuss things in the park, but also update you on anything and everything happening within the park that deals with construction or anything that is happening and going live as far as the park. So let's get into it. Let's talk a little bit about the things that are happening at after D23. So again, Josh tomorrow got up on stage announcing that this is not going to be blue sky. We need to have some concrete details, and we need to give the fans exactly what it is that we're going to be building, what's going to happen going forward. What does the future look like, and how does that all work as far as what we're building and kind of the things that will replace specific lands and specific rides. So we did get some announcements from Josh that we are going to get a new land in Disneyland Paris. This is a frozen land at the Adventure World in Paris. Queens Anna and Elsa, Olaf, and everyone else in Arendelle will be welcome visitors to the latest land inspired by the beloved Disney animation film. This new location is sure to melt your heart. So we got an announcement that we're going to have a frozen land in the Adventure World Park, which is the new name for the new park over in Disneyland Paris. So it's getting a rename, not a retheme, but a rename, and it's going to have a brand new name to open up all sorts of different parts of this park. I actually did see live from D23 photos and videos that were just models of Adventure World and what that looked like. And there was a lot of empty space, but it looked like they had gone in and started to add some of those models in as they got the announcements. So we did get these announcements, they started to place these models, and a lot of things started to come into place. People thinking that maybe they were going to announce some of this stuff for Disneyland Paris, and we finally get that. So Lion King Land and ride coming to Disneyland Paris. It is time. Journey with Simba Simba the Cub to King in the first ever ride through attraction themed to the classic Walt Disney Animation Studios film, The Lion King. So we've got a Lion King attraction for the very first time. We've got a Lion King Land coming to Disneyland Paris. And again, that is in their other park called Adventure World. So I have to make my way over to Paris. Lion King is my favorite movie. It is one that I will go out of my way to see. I've always wanted to go to all the Disney parks, but this brings me another reason to go to Disneyland Paris and see all of the new things that they're adding. I know that their parks are a lot of work in progress, but excited to see what those new lands will be, how they will incorporate those into the theme park, and what that looks like for Disneyland Paris. I know they'll be very popular. There was word that that Universal Studios was going to open something up in England. So we do have, it sounds like another competitor entering the Europe market. And I know that Disneyland Paris is trying to stay relatively up to date on what they're doing. So there's been a lot of announcements for Disneyland Paris. A new nighttime spectacular is coming to Paris in January 2025, including projections on Sleeping Beauty Castle for the first time down Main Street. So they have their projections that go up and down Main Street like ours do as well. And we finally got the word that we're getting a nighttime spectacular that is coming to their second park, which is also Adventure World. They're going to have a show in 2026. An all new breathtaking nighttime show will also debut on the lake at Disney Adventure World. And it will combine water scenes, fountains, special effects, and never before seen drone choreography. So Disney World is currently working on and has a show at Disney Springs that they are working on perfecting the drone game, because Universal Studios has done so as well. A lot of the theme parks have started to incorporate that into their nighttime spectaculars. So it just made sense for Disney to jump in and join the game as well. And we're going to get some drones in some of our night shows. I know they've started to tease drones and other things. I know Marvel's used drones. They use those at San Diego Comic-Con to show people what they can do with their drones. So it seems to be a good time to be into small flying objects. So we've got a lot of drones being implemented into the night shows. I'm interested to see if this can be incorporated anywhere else. Issue with drones is they do drop out of the sky. We've seen that happen at Disney Springs. So it's oftentimes why they will put them over water, just so they have that landing area. I know that people are scared to put those at Disney Animal Kingdom, Ashley said, because of the animals. The animals are scared of the sounds of them, because unlike us humans, like, we can hear the drones, but their hearing is a lot better than ours, and it does terrify the animals. So that's one reason why they've been very hesitant to do any kind of night show at Disney's Animal Kingdom, because the animals do get scared of different sounds. And I think it would scare an animal to have those up in the air. And that's Rivers of Light. Again, we didn't get any kind of announcement for Rivers of Light. And I'm sure it's going to sit pretty bare for quite some time. I know if Matt's on the live, that's where Matt used to work, and has a fondness for the Rivers of Light. But it is one place that I think Disney went full force into it, and now it just sits and is stroller parking in a nice place to sit down and relax. But again, nothing for Rivers of Light, but all these nighttime shows coming to Disneyland Paris. So 2 new night shows that they're going to have by 2026 at their at Disneyland Paris, and then their new Disney Adventure World. Well, I guess not new, but the newly named Adventure World over in Disneyland Paris. We're going to move on to another attraction that's being added in an international park. In Shanghai's coaster-style Spider-Man thrill attraction, Peter Parker has gotten himself and us in a bit of a tight spot, according to Disney. We're going to follow him at very high speeds to get us out of trouble. The new ride appears to blend an enclosed dark ride sequence with an outdoor roller coaster similar to Shanghai's Tron Light Cycle Power Run. That's such a mouthful to say as an attraction, but we are getting a Spider-Man attraction in Shanghai, and then over at Hong Kong Disneyland, where we're getting a Marvel themed section of the park, is inspired by the version of Iron Man 2's Stark Expo. Riders will be caught up in a battle between Spider-Man and Doc Ock. So we're getting a new Spider-Man attraction over there. And this is a look, if you're looking at the YouTube version of the different Spider-Man attractions that are coming to the Asian parks. So very similar in the way that they kind of look, but I think going to be different stories and really incorporate different elements of the one of the most famous Avengers in Spider-Man. So I'm looking forward to the day that we can finally, hopefully, add Spider-Man to some kind of Disney World park. And I know with Universal's deal, that still can't happen, but one can hope, one can keep their fingers crossed, because I think Spider-Man is one of my favorite Avengers and one of my favorite Marvel characters. So looking forward to seeing what they do with that. Now, moving over to domestic side of the parks, and I want to talk about things that had already been announced and are coming, and they've got a range in which they're going to come, and so a time of year in which we should expect some of these attractions. Walt Disney World announced that Zootopia Better Together will open in winter of 2025 at Disney's Animal Kingdom. Based on details Disney previously shared during Destination D23 last fall, we know that the concept for Zootopia Better Together has guests visiting the different biomes you only glimpse in the film, traveling along with Judy Hopps, Nick Wilde, and other characters. So we're getting a ton of Zootopia interactions at Disney's Animal Kingdom. There's been a lot of talk, and there had been a lot of talk. Are we getting a Zootopia land? What does that look like? We get an attraction, and it is in the Tree of Life. It's going to take the place of Tough to Be a Bug, and it has already gone under construction. So it is being built as we speak, and we will get to experience that sooner rather than later. It's the first thing that opens up as far as these new announcements and these new attractions are concerned. So Disney's Animal Kingdom adding attraction Zootopia Better Together in winter of 2025. We got some announcements at D23 as well about Test Track. We figured this was coming. I was actually shocked we didn't get any kind of concept art besides the concept art that we had already gotten. And the stuff that we had already gotten, it's a car going through a much more wooded area instead of like the test dummies that you are riding as in the current Test Track as it exists. In 3.0, they're going to try to integrate and implement different elements from the first Test Track, use some of the elements from the second Test Track, and some new elements to tell a different kind of story. And with those details, they announced that, and here's kind of the description from Disney's park blog. Explore the past, present, and future of automation with a newly rethemed Test Track presented by Chevrolet. Buckle up, it might get bumpy. The queue will feature 6 distinct exhibits, and within each room celebrate the vehicles and people behind the vehicles that push the envelope and help get people to the next chapter of their motion journey. So that's all they really announced as far as Test Track. We're getting 6 different areas that are going to be different nods to different cars and the people behind those cars and the things that we experience with car and the connection that humans have, I guess, to their vehicles to celebrate that. I'm assuming we get more technology as far as the customization of your cars. I know they want it to be more interactive, and that was a big push towards getting those screens. So I don't know if anybody had visited Test Track in a while, but as time went on and as it got further and further into existence, those screens really stopped working. There were a lot of them down at certain times. There wasn't really any room to kind of stand and customize your car. A lot of times the linking of the car to your vehicle when you got to the touch point up at the loading part area of the ride, it didn't work as well. And so that's really what they were going to focus on and fixing in Test Track, as we're going to call it 3.0. So we got the news there that it's coming 2025. We assumed it was going to be kind of a longer renovation, but not any or refurbishment, but nothing too crazy. And they did confirm it that it will open back up next year. So Test Track is coming back to Epcot 2025. We have Tiana's Bayou Adventure opening up at Disneyland in November or on November 15th, 2024. So this year, during the Thanksgiving season, you will be able to ride Tiana's Bayou Adventure if you are in the Disneyland parks over in California. We have it open currently at Magic Kingdom here in Walt Disney World. It is a great attraction. It is very fun. The animatronics are very good. I love just kind of the storyline where you're collecting the band members. It's going to be the same as Disneyland's. And I can't wait for you all to experience it. If you haven't been able to experience it yet, it is a very fun attraction, especially if you are a Princess and the Frog fan, if you are a fan of that movie and those characters, bringing them back for a story that is beyond Princess and the Frog and seeing the next chapter in their lives as they get ready to step into their new Disney Plus show. So in their Disney Plus show, they will be doing different things that in Tiana's that they will have different elements in Tiana's that they are going to incorporate, but we'll see what that means. And again, Bayou Adventure opening up in November of 2024. So very, very soon. Disney Cruise Line, you have some massive news. Disney Cruise Line is currently building, I think it's 4 cruise ships. You have Disney Adventure, Disney Treasure, Disney Destiny, and then the 9th one that's unnamed that's going to take off from their port's going to be in Japan. And then 10, 11, 12, and 13 are being added to the fleet from 2027 to 2031. Disney will hit 2031 with 13 cruise ships in their fleet and 13 different experiences. I can't wait to see what those new ships are. I know some of the new ships have incorporated a lot of the Avengers. Ashley said Taylor Swift Easter egg, a Taylor Swift Disney cruise or a Taylor Swift themed roller coaster in place of Rock and Roller Coaster, I think might just break the Disney bubble. I think it might just destroy everything because I think Taylor Swift's crowd for an attraction or a cruise ship would be out of this world insane. The long lines, virtual queue would be down in a minute. Yeah, put Taylor Swift in the NBA experience. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, the Taylor Swift Eras Tour experience. That would be something. You could have I don't know, like the different eras through different rooms. That'd be a great attraction, actually, through the different eras of Taylor Swift. We should build a Taylor Swift theme park. So, Taylor, if you're listening, call us up. We've got some ideas. Yeah, new cruise ships coming. Disney Cruise Line stepping up their game. They've really become a force to be reckoned with, obviously, in the cruise ship or the cruise industry. They're competing just as well as Royal and them are. And honestly, when I'm thinking cruise ship, I'm starting. If somebody says cruise ship or cruise line, I'm thinking Disney. I'm thinking Disney, not Carnival, not Royal, not Norwegian, not Print. Like I'm thinking Disney Cruise Line. I'm not a big cruise person, but again, I think because I'd get motion sick and seasick on them. So up next, we did get some announcements for other cruise ships. We on the Disney Treasure are going to get a Moana stage show. It's the Disney, the Tale of Moana, and it's going to be a giant puppet on stage telling the story of Moana. This setting, this backdrop looks amazing. I cannot wait to see what this looks like. I know a lot of people will take pictures of this. I don't know if you're allowed to. I don't think you're allowed to film these. I don't know. Are you allowed to film these? Because in Broadway, you're not supposed to. But I don't know. Like in stage shows at Walt Disney World, you can film them. But can you film them if you are in person? That's a good question. I don't know. I've never been on the cruise ships. So, yeah, this new show looks amazing. Any kind of Broadway style show that Disney puts on their cruise ships and their parks have always been very, very good. Disney Destiny got some news. We got a Hercules show coming, and the music and characters you know and love from the classic Walt Disney animation film are going to hit the stage, and it will be a musical. I'm really excited to see what this is because I think this could play well in Broadway. This can play well in the Disney parks. I know there's been a lot of focus on Hercules lately I think Disney Destiny is the one that will have Hercules themed rooms. I know Meg has a lounge that's coming to the Disney Destiny, and there is a focus on villains, heroes versus villains kind of thing. And I think it's just very fitting for what we got announced for Disney's Magic Kingdom at the end of D23. So we'll talk a little bit about that and focus a lot of our time there. A new adventure awaits at Disney's Animal Kingdom, and here's where we started to get some of the Walt Disney World news that we've been waiting for a very long time. I thought it was going to be, I'm not going to lie to you. And I told this to Jordan, I told this to everybody that was on the live before. I thought that we were going to get more emphasis on Disneyland. And there had been the VP at Disneyland came out and said that they were going to get a lot of news there. That a majority of the breaking news coming out of D23 Experiences Showcase was going to be Disneyland. And then once we got to D23 and Experiences panel, most of it was Walt Disney World. It felt like one after the other was Walt Disney World. I know we did get a lot of Disneyland announcements, but I really did. I felt like we got a ton of Walt Disney World announcements. So I'd say it was a majority Disney World, and I think the magnitude of the Disney World ones really did take over. But yes, we got the confirmation. They had confirmed. A lot of people keep saying that they hadn't said that this was coming yet. They did say this. They did announce that this was coming and Indiana Jones was coming. I don't think they announced that Tropical Americas was coming, like for sure that it was called Tropical Americas, but they said that's what they thought they were. But they definitely confirmed it. Encanto and Indiana Jones were coming, because I remember at Destination D23 they announced those, and Indiana Jones will take over where Dinosaur is, so Dinosaur will go down, and then the rest of Dino Land will become this new area. I don't know if they'll have to do too much as far as taking things down in Dino Land, because they're going to use a lot of the existing buildings. It looks like they're going to use the Restaurantosaurus and the buildings in and around that restaurant. So it does look like they're going to just kind of repurpose those. So I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of things like tearing down and building buildings and adding buildings to different areas in the skyline. It's going to stay pretty much the same. The entrance into Dino Land is going to change. It's going to change into, and we'll talk about what it's going to be called. But they're not really changing a ton of things that they don't have to change. They're adding, obviously, the Encanto ride, a couple of the buildings in the back that appear to be shops. But they're retheming it. Looks like Chester and Hester's back there in the back. If you're on YouTube, you can see that. They're looking, it looks like they're just going to do the outside of the facades of them and then the interior of them. So they're using existing buildings. It will save them money in the long run. They're trying to spread that. I think it was $60 million that the Disney company is going to spend over the parks and experiences. So 60 million, I think it's 15 to 16 million or billion. Sorry, not million, 60 billion. And I think they're going to try their best to use 15 to 16 billion, I think what was approved here in Walt Disney World. So the more that they can use existing buildings, the more I think we get as far as the theme parks are concerned, especially here in Florida. So repurposing all of the Dino Land areas and buildings, I think makes sense. It's so much easier. The land will get done quicker because a lot of it's just kind of the outside structural work that they kind of like, or sorry, there's no structural work that they have to do. That's the outside area, the look of it, which tends to be a lot quicker than just completely tearing things down and building new buildings, putting in new plumbing. Like all of this stuff's already built, so you might as well use it. The carousel that they're building looks like a lot of fun, but just looking at this land, if you're on the YouTube version, or if you're able to pull it up, it's expansive, it's beautiful, it's a great use of the space, I believe. I think we finally get a space where people are going to go. I mean, people have really stopped going to Dino Land unless they're going to Dinosaur, because, I mean, they love the games there, but, I mean, most people just kind of go through Chester and Hester's, they blow right through it and go to the next land, which is usually Nemo in Asia, towards Everest, or they'll come back over towards Discovery Island. And there's just not a lot to really do in Dino Land anymore besides meet some of the characters. So are they going to destroy the Liberty Bell or reuse it? That is a very good question. And we'll talk more about this, but I do believe, if I had to guess, they will repurpose it for something. I don't know if that means shortening Rivers of America, whether that means docking it permanently or taking it out completely and moving it somewhere else. I don't know how it all works because I do believe it was on a track from what I remember. And moving that thing, I don't think is going to be very easy. Um, I'm going to go with repurpose if I had to bet. So, and people that are wondering what just happened on YouTube, I got a comment on TikTok that asked if Liberty Bell is going away. It was interesting they didn't mention the Liberty Bell specifically in their Disney Parks blog. I'll just say that. I think that was very interesting. Yeah, so kind of back to Disney's Animal Kingdom. We were getting what's called Pueblo Esperanza, and let me click through the slides and kind of show you what that is. So here's what I'm talking about as far as new buildings being added and this wall. I'm assuming the wall won't take very long because it's just kind of a decoration and entrance into the actual area that they're calling Puebla Esperanza. So that is going to be the entrance from Dinoland into the new area where Encanto's ride is going to be, and Indiana Jones. I think it looks beautiful. It looks very similar, I would say, to some of the stuff we see in Coco. I thought for sure that Coco was going to be the carousel and the restaurant, but I don't think that is going to be the case. So Coco is probably going to have to try to find another home. And I'm just speculating here, but that ride vehicle and the speculation, well, I'll show you what I mean for the Disneyland announcements, but the ride concept art for the Disneyland Coco ride look very similar to a specific attraction over here that has that same kind of layout. And I'm looking at you, Mexico, over there in Epcot. Yeah, so I think that's on the horizons. Get it? Because this is called Horizons. Is the restaurant going to be quick service or table service? They haven't announced that yet. They didn't announce. I'm assuming they're going to put the quick service back because they need that for capacity reasons. But I would not be shocked, Philip, if they do have a dining option where you are seated and it's table service. So I don't know. I think it's a good place to add like a Mexican restaurant. I think that would be excellent, or Colombian, or one of the, I guess, Brazil. I don't know. Like they could do a lot of things with the Americas, as they're calling it. So South America, North America, you could have all sorts of different cuisines there. I would prefer, I think, Mexican or Colombian. I believe, yeah, I think Mirabel's Colombian from what I remember. So that'll be awesome. I'm looking forward to it. The reason why I was hesitant to say Colombia is because I don't know. I don't know much as far as Colombian architecture. I don't know if this was an infusion of other places in America, because when they call it Americas, I think multiple. So I'm assuming it could be Mexican inspired. It could be Colombian. It could be, it could even be Brazilian. It could be whatever they can put there to make it fit underneath that umbrella. Maybe outside quick service, then inside table service, half and half. That would be, yeah. No, I think that would be pretty cool. Or something like they built over in Mexico's pavilion over in Epcot. I think having that area right outside that's quick service, and on the back end is, I believe, is that La Hacienda? Yeah. Because San Angel is the indoor one. So yeah, something like that. But look at this carousel. There's actually a picture of what one of the carousel, I guess you'd call one of the animals that is going to be in the carousel that you're going to be able to ride on the back of, is Kevin from Up. You will get to ride Kevin from Up around the carousel. I should have got the picture, but I forgot who had tweeted it, so I couldn't find it. But Kevin from Up was one of the little, I guess you call them ride vehicles on the carousel that you'll be able to ride round and round in Disney's Animal Kingdom. I love the look of this square. It's very beautiful, lots of green, a lot of great, I would say almost Latin flair with some of the lights and some of the trees with all the pinks and all the greens. I'm really excited about this. I think this could be a major hit. Tropical Americas might be one of the best lands. I've almost said the best because I was like, oh no, because I can't say that because villains, and I still love Frontierland as much as it's changed. I love it. But this area is going to be really good. Question: where do you think Coco is going at Disney's California Adventure Pixar Pier expansion? We're actually getting up close to that, Philip. So I'm actually live on YouTube, and I'll kind of show you where I think it's going to go. I'm going to finish up this, but just to quickly answer that, I think it's part of Disneyland Forward and is going across the street technically, or in that backside of Pixar Pier. We'll see. But Disneyland Forward is that project where they've got lands diagonal from the parks where they can expand into those expansion pads that I guess you would call them here in Walt Disney World. They have these places where they can expand. I honestly think Coco ends up in one of those spaces where they said that it's not going to be like a full theme park, but they can build certain lands. So that's going to be interesting. I'm really fascinated by Disneyland because of the lack of space that they have compared to Walt Disney World. Indiana Jones, here's a look, if you're on YouTube, of the temple. I'm almost convinced, and Jordan laughed at me because he goes, that's the worst movie out of the Indiana Jones ones, but I'm convinced it's going to be called Indiana Jones Temple of something. Temple of Doom is what the movie's called, but I don't remember what the Disneyland ride one is called. I think it's The Adventures of Indiana Jones, but I can't remember that off the top of my head. Here's a look at the inside of Indiana Jones. It's very interesting to me because you've got over in Disneyland, they use the projection system really well, and his ride over there. I think you're going to get a very similar thing here in Walt Disney World. The fact that Dinosaur is animatronics and that's it, I think you're going to get Indiana Jones animatronics and that's it. Like, I think this is going to be Indiana Jones animatronics and indoor animatronics theme throughout. I don't think they're going to rely on screens on this. I think you're going to get a similar kind of experience as far as the feeling of the ride, but it's going to be a different story. They've already said it's a different story than the one in Disneyland. And I love that because I don't like when they duplicate rides, because it's like, why would I want to go to Disneyland or ride that if I already ridden it in Disney World? I'll just save my time and do something else. But Animal Kingdom needs a new night show, like a fountain drone show. Yeah, we actually just talked about that, Philip. I don't know how that works with animals, because that's the only reason they've been really hesitant and why they've only ever done projections and boats. The noises that the drones make scare animals, the buzzing that they make, supposedly. Drones can only really work over water, I think, at Disney, because they don't want them dropping on people. I don't think they would try to incorporate them anywhere else. Maybe Magic Kingdom, because they do rope off certain areas of Magic Kingdom that they could do them in. But I don't see them incorporating them into places where they're guests, because those things tend to have a mind of their own at times. So, but yeah, Indiana Jones coming to Disney's Animal Kingdom. We've got an Encanto ride that is coming, and this is the one that, like, I'll put this up there with like Monsters Inc. Land and Villains. Like, this had me giddy. Going through the Madrigal house, going through each of the rooms of all the siblings and the family members, and seeing their powers interact in the room, and then you move on to the next one. And then I think they said the final one is where you go to the room with the brother that talks to animals, and their magical power is to be able to connect with the animals, which is how it fits into Disney's Animal Kingdom. And I think that this is going to be one of the best attractions that they add in quite some time, because I just feel like the colors, the scenery, the sounds, the smells, possibly, like they've incorporated smell in Tiana's Bayou Adventure. Spoiler alert for Disneyland people. But I'm looking forward to it. Will Animal Kingdom ever use or make use for that amphitheater again for something? I hope so. If you want my honest opinion, I would say no, and they'll go a different route and take out that water or use it for something else. I get it, but again, you're seeing what they're doing with water and waterways. I would not be shocked. I mean, that just, it's such a waste of space, that theater. I just don't know what you do with it. Like, they've tried so many things. Kite Tails was a disaster. No, I about said World of Color. Rivers of Light. Sorry, Matt, close your ears. It wasn't very good. Jungle Book was all right. I thought Jungle Book was all right, but maybe you do some more projections there. I don't know. It's it's a very tough thing because of the animals in there. They just don't want to disturb them. So yeah, Encanto ride, really looking forward to it. Look at the Madrigal house. I mean, if you're live on the YouTube or you're watching this playback, this house is so beautiful. I wish I could move in. We need to move into this house. I like it. But it also, I think it like splits at some point in the movie, doesn't it? It goes crazy. Matt probably sent me some hate mail on me talking a little bit poorly about Rivers of Light, but Disney was very quick to shut those down. They were listening to us on those. They did not leave those around very much. And here's a look at kind of the concept art for inside of the Madrigal house, where you're going to be encountering different parts of the family members. It's in the mail. What's in the mail? Oh, my hate. Yeah, your hate mail, Matt. Yeah. And again, I'm live on TikTok, so those watching on YouTube are probably very confused. But all right, on to Disneyland. We have, and we're going to jump back and forth because I just kind of went in the order that they were on Disney Parks blog because it just made more sense and it was easier to pull photos from. Disneyland Resort, pack your bags. We're heading to to Pandora. In the future, you'll be greeting everyone. I'm not even going to try to speak the native language there because that's what's up next. But it says, "I see you" in Navi. I don't know how you say it, but when this all new exciting destination arrives at Disneyland Resort with awe-inspiring sights and experiences based on movies 2, 3, and 4. So we're getting that extension of that story, the development of that story beyond the first movie that we have here at Walt Disney World. So that's cool. Disney World has one, and then as you go to Disneyland, you can experience the next 3 movies. I've not seen but like half of the first one. I'm not the biggest Avatar fan, but I will say, I talked about this in one of the videos I just did, that I actually do love visiting Pandora when I'm at Disney's Animal Kingdom because of how beautiful it is, and they have one of the best quick service restaurants and arguably one of the best rides at Walt Disney World in Flight of Passage. And I love the boat ride, Navi River Journey. I don't really care much for the movies. But again, that's just my preference. I do love Pandora, and I love what they're going to do in this Pandora, this Avatar land in Disneyland, because it's going to be very different. And I think Disneyland, you're going to be first up in getting that. And maybe we get this with Encanto because it is a boat ride. But I think Disneyland, you will get one of those massive boat rides that Disney, I think it's Shanghai Disneyland, has the Pirates ride, where it is so big in the show building, where these things look like, I mean, you are fully immersed. They said the pirate ships in those buildings are massive. So I think about the AT-ATs over in Rise of the Resistance, like those size, like grand scale of these, the woods of Avatar or the planets of Avatar, where you're going to experience some of these monsters that are massive creatures, like huge banshees. Indoor outdoor attraction, I love that because Disneyland, you can do that. The weather's good enough, just like Small World. I love that part of their Small World where you do start outdoors and then you go indoors, and then, or you do start out. Yeah, you start outdoors. I can't remember now, but you're outdoors, indoors. I know that, but I can't remember. I have it all mixed up in my head. But the fact that this is going to be available to us, indoor, outdoor, to this scale in Pandora, in Disneyland, I am over the moon thrilled about this, and I'm not even a big Avatar fan. I love this. I love this idea. People have asked where this is going. It could go in the Grizzly area. That's been thrown out there. Disney didn't really announce where any of these things were going until after the panel, which is smart on them. Why would they bring the room down by announcing what things were going to be replaced or where these were going to anger people? Because we will talk about a certain something that has not made people very happy. And I get it. But yeah, we're going to talk about that. But I think this is more Disneyland forward is what they were thinking. I don't know if they would replace, I guess they could replace Grizzly over in Disney's California Adventure, but I don't know if it fits. Like physically fits. I don't know how big that area is because I'm not a Disneyland local. I'm Walt Disney World, so I'm trying not to speak as much about the land they have over there because I'm not as familiar with it. But from what I remember and what I'm looking at, I don't know if it fits, and I don't know how it fits aesthetically either, which I know a lot of people will say that about other things as well. But that is what we're getting over in Disneyland. Also announced, and Philip, we can talk about it here, is the new Coco boat attraction, which construction begins in 2026. So this is why I think it's the Disneyland forward stuff, because I think the Pixar Pier area back in that back area, which it's not utilized as much, I don't know if it's really got the space or the real estate to really use that. But I have heard, as far as Disneyland Forward is concerned, almost diagonal across the street, which they might have to build like a walking. I don't know how that all works. I don't know how Disneyland is going to do this. I don't know if it means moving backstage areas to those parts. Like, I don't know, because it's so much different than here in Walt Disney World, where you can move things and put them somewhere else on the property, because we have acres and acres of land. Disneyland doesn't have that luxury, so you have to kind of replace things. Hey, yeah, I'm joining my team over here on TikTok. But yeah, I think when you add things to Disneyland, you are so constrained by space, and they're really good at building parking garages over there, which we are not good at. We just can't figure that out somehow. Where it's like, you know what would make more land? We could probably build a parking garage, which they build parking garages all over the place in Disney Springs. So I don't see what the difference is. Throw up a cast parking garage and put some monsters over somewhere, where I'm going to talk about that later. But yeah, this is the Coco boat ride. This is coming to Disneyland. Construction begins in 2026. Wouldn't be surprised if it's 2028 when it is open. Here's my thing. If you look at this, this is almost identical to a part in Grand Fiesta Tour here at Epcot. It was not announced for Epcot, and Coco, I thought, was going to get a major presence in the park somewhere. And there was rumors he was going beyond Thunder Mountain. He still might. I don't know. There's a lot of room back there. I don't think people realize how much room there's back there. But if Villains is going to go really far back, Coco's only destination, I feel, is Epcot and Grand Fiesta Tour. And I love Grand Fiesta Tour, but I'm not going to pitch a fit because it's going away. I'm going to be happy because I love Coco. And I love Grand Fiesta Tour, but it's okay. It can go because there's a lot more kids that love Coco, and that's who it's for. I really thought Coco was, yeah, I did too. And I really did. I thought Coco, when I saw this concept art, I'm like, it is going to replace it. I just don't know when. And of course, I'm just speculating. It's a lot of fun to kind of speculate. I don't know anything, but it does, doesn't it? It looks like Grand Fiesta Tour. I was like, that's weird. Why does it look like that? Because it's got the fireworks in the sky. It's got, I don't know. It just rang Grand Fiesta Tour to me. But what do you think we will hear more of next year at Destination D23? That's a great question. I think you'll get some actual footage of them shovels to ground in some of these places. I think we get some announcements as far as the developments of these lands. So, for instance, Monsters, I think you're going to get an update as far as what's coming to Monsters Inc. And Monstropolis, I'm guessing they're going to call this. I'm guessing you get some updates as to what's coming Disneyland forward. I think Disneyland will be a big focus next time as well. I wouldn't be shocked if you got more announcements as far as like dining options at these places, like different restaurants. I think we're due for resort information. We haven't gotten any resort information for a very long time. And there's been a lot of speculation that a new resort's coming. I think there still is plans to build the one out by Fort Wilderness because that land is still being demolished back there. They haven't really stopped that. Like, it's still there. Like, they haven't started to plant trees or anything. I don't assume that they're going to. So I think that's what's going to happen. I think they're gonna throw up that resort back there that was planned, which I think was called Reflections. But that was one of my predictions. I really thought Rock and Roller Coaster would get rethemed. I think it's coming, and that's what we might get as well. I think it's coming with Aerosmith retiring and all the issues that they've had with Aerosmith and Steven Tyler. I think that's coming. So buckle up. We might be getting a credit coaster. Okay. So we got Coco. Let's move on. Avengers Campus. So Avengers Campus is now getting 2 new attractions. So we're going to be up to 4 that have been announced. And this first one is the big attraction that had been rumored a couple D23s ago, I think. Yeah, so I think we're getting phase two. That's what I meant to say. Phase two of Avengers Campus over in Disneyland. And it is called this e-ticket attraction is going to be called Avengers Infinity Defense. And technology that allows the Avengers to jump between worlds has gone missing, and King Thanos is using it to wreak havoc everywhere. Recruits will travel to iconic locations like Asgard, Wakanda, and New York City, alongside the likes of big and small heroes. You will also, or you might just find yourself face to face with King Thanos, which is a new version of Thanos in the villain lore of Marvel. If you don't know anything about King Thanos, he is more of a force on the timelines. Had to look that up. But Ant-Man, obviously. There's Iron Man. Creature in the back, I don't know. So if Jordan's on here, he'll have to let me know, because I don't know what that monster's name is or that villain's name is. We got some Hulk. We got Black Panther down here. What else? I don't know what that is. Is that a wolf? What is that? There's some kind of dog-like thing over there. I don't know what that is. There's King Thanos hanging out. He's in the what is it called? Strange's building. I almost called it moratorium. That's not right. Sanctus. Leave that in the comments. I forget the name of Doctor Strange's lair. I forget it. It's something. Sancta something. Sanctus Sancta something. Yeah, I'm not gonna keep doing that. But that's what it's called. Yeah, he's in Strange's building. The next attraction that was announced is Stark Flight Lab. If you're up for another mission, Tony Stark has one for you. And you know Tony, he always wants to try something new and exciting, like villains. He likes to be villains now. He's Doctor Doom. We got to do a whole episode on that one. The Stark Lab attraction is actually going to have you sitting in and the people on YouTube can see this because I've got the concept art, but you're sitting in a roller coaster type seat with somebody on the side of you as well. And then as you go through, it's kind of like Dark Ride meets crazy roller coaster thing meets the arms from, like, I don't know, Monsters Inc. Like, it picks you up and it takes you like this and it rotates you and throws you around like you're an Iron Man or Iron Woman, and it like throws you back and forth, or an Iron Day. It just kind of moves you around, and like, I don't know, it looks like a lot of fun. I don't know how I'll deal with this because again, I get motion sick very easy. This might be okay because, like, as long as there's not screens and as long as like it's not like throwing you upside down, then it's fine. If it's just moving you like this, I'm usually okay with that kind of movement for very short periods of time. But we'll see. This is going to be very unique ride technology. They'll actually purchase this ride technology from one of the roller coaster vendors that they use. But this is going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait for Stark Flight Lab. I love Iron Man. One of my favorites. This next one sparked a lot of conversation online as well. We have a Walt Disney animatronic coming to Disneyland in 2025. It is going to happen very fast. It's happening as we speak. Roy P. Disney, Disney's great nephew, visited the Imagineering building and had a conversation with Josh D'Amaro, Bob Iger, about what this looks like. He got a first look at Walt's animatronic. I think he'll have a lot of say in what is said in the new show that they're going to have in Disneyland. From what I've heard, Matt, it's like sitting in a room with him, which will be eerie and fun and unique. I think, again, they've really done very well with animatronics recently. I think as the years go on, they've gotten better and better, and we have not seen yet this version. Like, we've seen Tiana's, which was like a year ago. Who knows what a year does for that new animatronic that's coming. I had to sit there. I wonder if he smells. Well, I mean, he might. I don't know, like oil, but yeah, this will be. It took me some time to think on this one, to digest this one. Philip says on TikTok, Frozen Ever After at Epcot should go down for the length of river to upgrade the animatronics and get. Yeah, no, I think, I mean, honestly, if this works out, I'd want Walt Disney in our parks over at Disney World. I think it's going to work very well. I think this is going to be a very popular attraction. I think that people are really going to enjoy this. It took me a while to think of how I was supposed to feel about this. I love it. I think it's going to be a very unique perspective. Yeah, I don't really like the projected faces either, Philip. I'm thinking they're going to go back to more of a traditional style. From what I've gathered, they're going back to the because it would show it on this, that they've gone back to that because Roy P. Disney had to approve it, and I think he was very, very clear that he wanted something that looked um, and sounded like Walt. So I think he's going to be presenting Florida Project. I think he's going to be presenting Disneyland stuff. Epcot, I would not be shocked. They're going to use the lines that he's already said. The people said, "Are they going to use AI?" That'll be weird. I don't think so. I think they're going to use the lines from World of Color, from Walt Disney Presents, from the different speeches that he's made. I think the opening day of Disneyland, I would not be shocked if they use some of that stuff. Like there's so many options because Walt Disney was recorded saying things. So I think there's a ton of options. Again, I think it'll probably be like a 10-15 minute show. They actually, I think, have a name for it. It's called Walt Disney: A Magical Life. So yeah, this is going to be really cool. I think it would be cool if you could talk to him. Yeah, if you guys haven't seen this yet, this is actually really cool technology. Aside from this isn't being implemented with this, I don't believe, with Walt. But there was something from D23 where they got to meet Rocket from Guardians of the Galaxy, and I will warn you, he does cuss. He was cussing up a storm. I was not expecting him to start cussing in the Marvel, the Marvel like pop up that they had at D23, and I saw a video of him like cussing up a storm. I was like, whoa, I did not expect that. And then they had a Mickey one. The Mickey one was really cool. So, and honestly, I got chills. I was like, I don't even know how I would react to that because the person was asking him very specific things about the announcements that were made, and he was answering them as if you were talking. I'm not even kidding. It was like he was making up new information as we were going, and he was collecting this all, and it's all AI. But there was one instance where he was asked about Walt Disney and working with Walt, and it went something like, I loved working with Walt. Walt was very fun, and the creative, imaginative mind that he had allows us all to exist in this beautiful world that he's. It was like, what in the world? Like it was so strange. Howdy, yay. I thought that really was Mickey. Yeah, no, it was really Mickey, Darren. It was really Mickey. I'm sorry, I did not mean to spoil that for you or upset you in any way. But yeah, Walt Disney animatronic coming to Disneyland. Coming to the Star Tours rides are Jump to Lightspeed in 2026 with Mando and Grogu. So we are going to get to see Mando and Grogu, not Star Tours. Sorry, I misspoke. It's Smuggler's Run, which is the Millennium Falcon. So you got some Millennium Falcon with Grogu and Mando. And on the YouTube, you can see Grogu flying through space with Mando, and that's adorable because I love Grogu. And then one thing that'll probably excite a lot of you online that I know are on here, we got some lounges coming, baby. We got some lounges coming. We've got one coming to Epcot, and that is going to be in Mission Space. And if you've ever been to the backside of Mission Space, you'll notice there are windows up above that overlook. I think it's called Discovery. Oh man, I always get this wrong because they've just changed them. Something Discovery. But yeah, it's that main area that they've just built out where Connections is and Creations and that area, that main plaza area that they just built out. But this is going to be very Mission Space themed. It's got the same kind of pattern on the inside that the Epcot ball has. It's that similar use of triangles and some diamonds and things like that. And it looks beautiful. It looks like a great little lounge to sit. The firework view of this is going to be absolutely insane. I think this is going to be one of the most popular lounges as far as fireworks are concerned. I can't think of another one that has such great views of like straight up views of fireworks from one of the icons from the parks. Like obviously Mickey and Minnie and them don't have one over at Studios, and neither the Tower. Although there was supposed to be a restaurant in Tower of Terror. Did you guys know that? That's a fun fact. If you go outside, as you're exiting the Tower of Terror ride, you can actually go up On the right-hand side, as you go back into their gift shop, on the right-hand side, they actually have the signage still for the Tower of Terror restaurant and a menu that you can see, and it has items on it. More bars are awesome. Yeah, Matt. There's a lot of people excited about these two because they're adding lounges into areas that really, I mean, this one's awesome. This one, I felt like a lot of people could guess that this one, but the one coming up next, I don't think many had on their bingo cards, except for some people that had heard rumblings about it before it was announced. I think at D23 X or D20 or Destination 23 last year. But yeah, no, I think this next one is probably going to be, besides maybe Space 220, I guess, because it's a lounge ish. It's a restaurant as well, but maybe Trader Sam's is going to be a little bit more popular than this one. But this next one is the Pirates Bar. I imagine the wait for this thing is going to be crazy. Maybe not as bad because I guess, I don't know, like they're obviously going to serve food and stuff in here. And there are kids in there. I can see children in the concept art. So they're going to allow kids in here. So it'll be kind of like a restaurant bar area. It looks like they've got some pirates in there entertaining some of the guests. It very much gave me like Trader Sam vibes, but pirate theme. Pirate bar is the greatest thing they've ever done. There's a lot of people that might agree with you on that one, Matt. I don't think they're going to run out of rum in this place. So Captain Jack, you might be able to find some Captain Jack in there. So yeah, this this bar looks so cool. It is taking place of the Pirates League inside of the gift shop over there. If you know anything about Pirates League, it was like the little bibbity bobbity boutique area for the pirates. I'm still waiting for them to knock down Pecos or change it because that doesn't make any sense as to why Tortuga closed. My baby is rope dropping the Pirates Bar. Heck yes, baby Rachel and Matt. I don't know if I want to see her last name on here, but I'm sure people can just look you guys up. Oh, it's on there. Never mind. I can say it. Baby Hartgrove is going to go. But yeah, no, I think Pirates Bar is definitely a destination, definitely a first stop for us in the Hartgroves. We're going opening day. We are rope dropping that bad boy. It might be 8 a.m., but we're doing it. We're going. So this looks awesome. I can't wait for this. I really am excited about it. Drew's in here. So Drew, you can go as well. Peter, you can come down and we'll all go. We'll all go to the bar. We can do a bar review. I can bring the old mic. We can talk and do like a bar review at Pirates. That'd be a lot of fun. Yeah, this is gonna be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to the Pirates Bar. Not the Pittsburgh Pirates, but the animated and Johnny Depp kind of. Okay, guys, here we go. Getting into the real fun stuff. At Walt Disney World, Monsters, Inc. Land Monstropolis announced for Disney's Hollywood Studios. They have not named it Monstropolis, but I think it's pretty much a given at this point. That is what it is called in the Monsters, Inc. movies. This is announced for DHS. Construction begins 2025, shovels to ground very, very soon. I'm assuming it's going to be right in the New Year's when they're going to do this. We should be getting the announcement as to when and where this thing is going to take place. There's a lot of things online right now. There are a lot of things going on online. There's people saying that think that they've got the inside scoop on things that say Disney's now reconsidered where it's going. Muppets is mentioned. Courtyard or Animation Courtyard's been mentioned. Sunset Boulevard's now been mentioned. Rock and Roller Coaster and Lightning McQueen Racing Academy. That area has been mentioned. People have somehow found so much space back there. I don't know where they're finding all this space, but they have found it. I think Galactic Cruiser has been mentioned. I even mentioned that in the group chat today, that there's been a lot of speculation that they could knock down the Galactic Star Cruiser, build parking out there, and extend Hollywood Studios out into the parking lot. That's been mentioned. So everybody's run wild, right? We've all become Imagineers. This concept art that I'm sharing currently on YouTube is Animation Courtyard. It's got launch bays, front facade. It's got the right-hand side where Disney Junior is. It's got the left-hand side where there would have been a gift shop and, the Mermaid show that they literally just redid and have not debuted yet. So that's sitting there. I don't know if there's enough space. I really don't. And I've had this discussion many times where if this is going to be where it is, you're going to see it's not even going to be much of a land. It'll be the ride and then maybe a restaurant. I just don't see where else they would build out from there. They've got cast member buildings behind every single one of those buildings. Disney's not really known for tearing down cast member buildings just to build more cast member buildings. That's just not their game. It's never been their game. They've moved cast members out of Celebration. They've moved cast members out of animation studios into those. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. I don't think it goes into Animation Courtyard. I think this was a Chapek era concept art, and the next one's more of a more realistic one. So this is the one that people think is, of course, Muppets Courtyard. I know. I know the feeling behind it. I know it will be sad. I know there's a lot of attachment to Muppets. I know the history behind Muppets. I know Jim Henson, this was the last thing he worked on. I know that some of the creators have said that they voiced that's a concern. Disney's listening. We clearly know that from the panel. They have clearly listened to all of the things we've been saying over the last couple of years, and they've been really good about owning up to that. Josh Tomorrow, if you guys haven't listened to, so WDW Radio with Lou Mangello did a wonderful interview with Josh Tomorrow. And I know there's a lot of things out about Josh. People love him, people don't like him, people have questioned his choices, his creative choices behind Chapek. Listening to Josh talk to Lou, it was the most honest conversation I think I've ever heard from a Disney executive. And Iger's been very upfront as well, but Josh was very honest, and it was very refreshing about, we hear you. We know there's frustration. He said, I'd be stupid not to know that. I know there is. I know there's a lot of frustration with me, because he said, funny thing is, and I'm quoting from the podcast that Lou did. And I love Lou Mangello. So if you want a good source of Disney info, that's so unbiased and so good, definitely go to Lou Mangello. He's phenomenal. If you haven't heard of him, definitely look him up, WDW Radio. But Josh said that, at the parks panel, after the parks panel, people were excited coming up to him, telling him how excited they were. And then there were also the people that realized what was going to happen to Rivers of America. And they've heard all the things online, and they knew the speculation. And he said that they were very quick to come up to him and tell him how disappointed they were with him. And he said, I got it all. And he goes, I'm just somebody trying to do a job that makes people happy. And at the end of the day, and I agree with him totally, that Disney is just trying to do a job to make the most people happy going forward. And if that means building the places where the kids that are now enjoying the parks, the new fans, if that means building Monsters Inc. in place of Muppets because they relate more to Monsters Inc., then I'm all for it. And I get it. Jim Henson, this was his baby. This is his craft. This was his thing. But you also have to realize that, and Walt said this the best, is that if we're ever standing still as a theme park, we're not doing anybody justice, our fans, whatever it might be. So I really do think that Josh was as honest as he could possibly be in an interview. And I was actually shocked by how honest he was with it. It's about a 35-minute interview. He talks about it all. But he really does. He does a nice job of being very honest about the things that are coming and the things that might be going. He doesn't mention them specifically, but he knows. He's well aware, and they're well aware. And it's not like Disney's making these choices and going, yeah, forget your memories. They're thinking, where can we make more memories for more people, right? And I know there's a lot of argument about IPs. Do you guys not realize that Cinderella's an IP, Tom Sawyer's an IP, Haunted Mansion's an IP, Splash Mountain was an IP, Tiana was like, they're all IPs, they're all intellectual properties of somebody's. I don't get that's an IP. Well, yeah, but we're gonna talk about that. We're getting to it, guys. We're getting the door coaster. That's that right there. That blew the minds of so many people, because it has been a rumor since the movie came out in I think it was 2001 when this movie, or 2003 when this movie came out. It's been 20 years since the monsters have come out. And I remember watching this movie and thinking, man, that would be fun. I want to ride on a door. I want to go into doors like this. This would be a blast. How come my monsters aren't coming through my door like that? Like, I always wanted to ride a ride like this, and we're finally getting it at Disney's Hollywood Studios. Again, where that will be, we do not know yet, but we will get the announcement soon. Disney Starlight, we get a nighttime parade finally back. It's going to have been almost 9 years since we had Main Street Electrical Parade. 2020 or 2016, I think October of 2016 was when we had the Main Street Electrical Parade. And we are getting a brand new parade that looks very colorful, very bright, very vibrant, very fun. I think the characters that are going to be included in this are going to be some of the newer characters mixed with some of the old. So we've got Blue Fairy in this first concept art that we're looking at on YouTube. We all have Peter Pan, Frozen, so characters we've all grown to love and loved for a lot of years, for a very long time. And the most impressive float, I think, out of all of them in the concept art, obviously, is the second one is Mirabelle. You got Isabella. You got Bruno. Right down Main Street, USA. There's lights on Main Street that are lit up. I think the representation of different cultures is really important here. I think the representation of the new characters are very important here. You still have you are an entertainment company. You are an entertainment company for adults, Disney adults like us, but you also have to remember that this is also a place for kids and geared heavily towards kids and their stories and them growing up and them being in a world of imaginative and being in a world of not reality, taking them out of reality where things and taking us out of reality. Because sometimes life sucks right now for a lot of people. And I think that's going to be very important. And it's parades like this and floats like this and stories like Mirabelle's and stories like, Peter Pan and Frozen and Frozen 17, whenever that comes out. Looking forward to it. Love Frozen. But I think it's just so important that we get these stories told in these different parades that are coming in different nighttime spectaculars. All right. I know what's next. And this one, I got to get a drink of water because this is going to be a fun one. We have Cars attractions coming to Magic Kingdom. This one floored a lot of people. People were expecting maybe Coco, Beyond Thunder Mountain, Villains, Beyond Thunder Mountain, whatever was coming beyond Thunder Mountain. Beyond Thunder Mountain meant right next to Thunder Mountain. And we got the announcement that there are 2 new Cars attractions, not a land, 2 new Cars attractions coming to Walt Disney World and Magic Kingdom. And that was a huge announcement because so many people love Radiator Springs racers. People love Cars Land and Disneyland. And people were very excited about this, right? They're like, heck yeah. And from this concept art, the first concept art that I'm showing on YouTube, it's got like the very high mountainous looking. I mean, they almost look like Pandora's mountains, but in behind it, you can see Big Thunder Mountain. And it kind of looks like the backside of Big Thunder Mountain. So Beyond Thunder Mountain, which that's because in the blue sky, that's what they kept saying is it's called the Beyond Thunder Mountain project, where they're talking about things beyond in this area back here that they had a lot of space. I just knew. I have it on my bingo card weeks before we did a prediction show. I just felt like it didn't make sense for Disney to do a Villains Land unless they were going to do it big time. And the only way they were going to be able to do it big time is if they had enough land back there to really expand it in different phases. And I think this is only going to be phase 1 of Villains Land. I think we're going to get a lot of different villains things back there. They're not just going to build. If they're going to do villains, they're going to do it correctly because it will squash anything else that Epic Universe does, SeaWorld does. Like, it does not matter which theme park builds the next big thing. Villains at Disney is a huge moneymaker and one of the best things that's probably ever happened to the theme parks. And I'm not trying to exaggerate that, but I really do feel that. But again, kind of going backwards here, it means we have to build villains to be the biggest thing here. And that means that Cars can't really get in the way. And they needed another thing to put back there. So they looked at other places, and I just felt like weeks in advance, I just felt this weird undercurrent of they're going to get rid of Tom Sawyer. Like, they're going to knock that out. They can drain the water, which they've done that many times. They drain the water. I don't know if everybody knows that. You can drain that water from rivers because they had to redo the track and stuff. It actually happened recently. I can't remember when that exactly was, but it was like maybe right after COVID, they were doing the boat. But yeah, they'll drain it and they will knock out Tom Sawyer. And I I know there's a lot of feelings online about that, and I get it. I understand. I understand that it was a huge part of your childhood going to the theme parks and seeing that area. I know people say it's very tranquil, it was very relaxing, it was a good place to be. Um, there was an argument that, like, take that out of the Frontier, what does that leave you? Cars in the Frontier. Cars in the Frontier makes sense. If you keep going west towards California, that's where Cars takes place. They're like, well, what about the snowy mountains? Keep going. How about Oregon and Washington? That is the Frontier. Keep going. Alaska, keep going. Like, the Frontier is the next. It moves. The Frontier doesn't stay in one place. It would be like, if it was the Frontier, we'd be building like the St. Louis Cardinals Stadium, because that's where the Frontier started. Like, that's where St. Louis was, like, beyond the Mississippi was the start of the Frontier, and it's not stopped since. Like, once it hit the coast, that's when you kind of have to stop, because then you hit the new waterway, not the new Frontier, because then you're in an ocean and going, where the hell's the land? So, yeah, it's this will be interesting. I'm very interested to see um, how this is taken once it arrives, because I think the way that it's gone, I think you will see a lot of people kind of like with Tiana's, where they're not wanting to visit, where they don't like the land. And then all of a sudden, time will move on. You will move on. And I think you will love Cars. I just, it's such a beautiful land. And in Disneyland, if you've never been to Disneyland, you don't understand. People are like, well, it's moving too fast. Like, it's not a good relaxing thing. Like, there's nowhere to relax. There's nowhere to kind of catch a break. If you're coming to the theme park, I'm sorry, like, there's places for breaks, but, like, it's not meant for that. It's meant to be alive. Like, they're not going to build like a sleepy park. So when people say that, you also have to think, if you ever go back into Cars Land, Ashley and I would sit in Cars Land for a very long time and eat like their little cones, their cozy cones, or eat like, I think they have pickles back there. And we sat there one time and ate by the little van, the hippie van. And there is nothing that compares to nighttime at Cars, when the lights come on and they start doing that song, and Life Could Be a Dream, and the lights dance. And you can almost hear a pin drop with how quiet people are watching that experience. And then when you're standing by radiator racers, when the racer car is not going by, it is so pretty. There's trees everywhere. There's pines, big evergreens. Like, it is such a tranquil, and the waterfall that's coming down, like, it is a tranquil place. So that's where that's going to come into place. Like, the trees are going to line that side of the where Rivers of America is now. The trees, if you look at the concept art, so we'll actually pull up some more of the concept art here, because if you look at it, so this is on YouTube. So Frontierland, the buildings are on the left hand side. So say I'm walking towards Tiana's. Left hand side, you got the buildings. Right hand side, it's going to be trees all the way around, pretty much up towards Tiana's. So it's going to like shield that area. And then they're going to have, like, where the Frontier boat port is, they're going to have that as well. So it basically blocks your view. You'll just see mountainous looking areas. You might hear some of the cars, but they're going to be far enough off. It's not going to be loud. It's not going to be test track loud. Like, that's not a loud ride. If you've ever been to the Disneyland one, it's not a loud ride. It's pretty quiet. People are having fun on it. You hear them laughing, but you hear that throughout all. I mean, you sit on Tom Sawyer Island, there are people screaming their heads off because Big Thunder. So, like, you're going to get your tranquil feel. You're going to get that relaxing feel. Yes, it really stinks when they take things away, because there is such a feeling wrapped around what they're taking away, because you have memories. But I can speak to, I used to work in Camp Mini Mickey. They took that away. And while it didn't seem that important in the grand scheme of things, and it really wasn't, I miss it to this day. But I don't sit and think, oh, I wish they'd come that. I'm never going to go to the new Lion King. It's a different story. We're telling a different story. Time goes on, time moves on. Things always change. Like, they knock down your favorite restaurant sometimes. Like, it just happens. So, whoa, that was like a Chicago accent there. But I don't get, I get it, but I don't get the hate. Like, don't hate on Cars. Don't hate on, hate on the things that are changing and going away and like be sad about that. But like it's so hard for me to sit here and think that this park is just going to stand still forever, because then where do we expand? And people will say, "Well, go to a different park and build another one." Your Epic Universe did. That's just not how it works. Like there's so much that would have to go into another park, um, money, resources. They don't want to build another park until they know what goes on with Marvel. I guarantee you that's what they're hanging on to. They're hanging on to, will Universal finally just let loose of Marvel, and what other properties can they build? I think it's coming. I just don't know when that's going to happen. So yeah, that's kind of my spiel on Cars and Frontierland. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I want to say about this before we kind of move on. I've got a video coming out Friday, that'll talk a lot about that. But again, I get it, but I also get that we're trying to make a new generation fans of this place, and as as much as you're connected and you might be able to connect your kids to that, there weren't a lot of kids hanging out at Tom Sawyer. There's not kids that even know that exist. There's people that don't even know that exist. Cars they will. Cars they definitely will, and they'll be very happy about it, and it will make a lot of people happy. And that's what this company is supposed to do. Okay, the final one that we're going to talk about tonight, and the biggest one of them all, the fairest of them all, is going to be Villains Land. And Villains Land is coming beyond Thunder Mountain. I think it's on purpose that they didn't go, that they are getting rid of Rivers. I think there is a reason why Cars is going right next to Thunder and not back beyond it, is because they really want to make sure they do this well. And we talked about this. They want to do Villains right, and they want to make sure that it is the land, the premier land, the premier play, the place that brings people, that any new fans or people back to the parks. Like, people are going to go to this. Look at the way that people reacted to Dark Universe over at Epic Universe. This is on a whole different scale, because Epic Universe is Universal Monsters. We know their stories. We know, these stories have been around for ages, but also they don't really change a whole lot. And to be honest with you, like, while they are villainous, they don't really do villainous things except for to each other, or like some people. Like, villains are villains have backstories. They're horrible. They're evil. They want to kill. They want to do all sorts of different things. I think Villains coming to the Magic Kingdom is a game changer. There's nothing else that can compete with this. It's not even close. I don't think Marvel and Avengers even coming to Disney World would come even close to the reaction, to how many people will show up day one to enjoy this part. Looking at the concept art and kind of breaking it down. If you haven't seen the breakdowns yet, it's very interesting. If you zoom in, and those that can see this on YouTube, on the bottom of the concept art, there's like a waterway. And in the waterway, at first, it kind of looked like an eel, or like a sea monster. But then I looked closer and I zoomed in, and it looks like there's a roller coaster that goes underneath the water. Like the water, I don't know how. I guess it's a glass bottom, or it's got a glass top on it, where it's going to have like water sitting in it. It kind of looks like water, but underneath is actually going to be, and I think they're doing this at Epic too. They're building these roller coasters to look like they go into water and underwater and into the ground. And I can only imagine where they're going into the ground, but so they've got that. They've got what I'm assuming is the same roller coaster over in the left-hand corner with Maleficent's dragon. So Maleficent, the dragon. The dragon is breathing fire at something, probably the roller coaster. People think that it's going to be kind of like Harry Potter. I don't know if they would do that often on a roller coaster, to have it breathe every time a car went by, but maybe. I mean, that'd be kind of cool. But in the background, you can see it looks like Maleficent's castle. On the right-hand side, I kind of zoomed in to look at the other castle. It does look like they're trying to, they might do like a castle with spires for the different villains. That's kind of what I got the vibes. Like, looking at them, the spires are weird because they're different shapes. And like, that's odd. And like, I'm trying to think of how they incorporate all the villains here. And they're going to start with two major attractions, which I think is going to be I think a given is a Maleficent coaster. I think that's just, she's the most popular, I think, of them all. I could be wrong about that, but I feel like she is. Maleficent's huge. Ursula, again, I think she'll play a big part. I wouldn't be surprised if Scar, Jafar, Cruella, Evil Queen, they all have huge roles in this land. I'm not sure they'll incorporate Hades as much. I'm not sure they'll do Facilier because they didn't do that with. Well, I mean, I guess he's gone in Princess and the Frog at that point, but I know they've had some. There's been some discussion about those two characters for other reasons, but this will be very interesting. I think Gaston again might have some play in this park, but I think it's going to be two major attractions. I think it'll be a dark ride where we encounter and are. If I had to guess, and this is just me guessing, we are heroes of some sort, or we like join the heroes on their quest to get rid of the villains from the Magic Kingdom. And I think the villains have a dark ride, and we see all of them. That would be cool. Just throwing that out there. This is just nobody knows anything about this land because there's nothing on it. Because I think it is as far away from all of them, or I think it's as far away as all of them. I think it'll probably be like a 2027, 2028 kind of thing. But yeah, no, I think this is going to be the most immersive, most expansive, most themed, most visited. I'm sure there's going to have some cool restaurants, a lounge. I think we're going to get a lounge here, or like a bar area. They're going to go all out. Like it'll come in phases. Like I know a lot of people are like only 2 attractions, only shopping and dining. Like what does that even mean? They do these in phases. So if you look at Avengers Campus, it's the exact same thing they've done. Avengers Campus started out with, I think, 1.5, 2 attractions. Like they were building a second one still, like they hadn't finished the second one. And then they completed the second one. Now they're getting a third. Now they're getting a fourth. They'll get fourth. They'll have restaurants. They've got the restaurants there. Like it takes a while to build out a land. It's not like you're building a new theme park. And I think that's where people are getting frustrated, is because Epic Universe is opening a theme park. They have to open that many things in different lands because it's a whole theme park. They're building whole lands. This is just the start of different lands across the property. And Disney's building so many things at different areas. And Disney has so much more going on as far as creative resources. They've got to create all sorts of things. They got cruise ships. They've got movies and film. They've got they're into the international side of things where Universal doesn't have international parks yet. So like well, they're the one, I think there's one in Tokyo, but as many international parks, right? I think until Disney creates and builds some of these things, you're going to see a slower progression and Disney takes their time with things, I think, compared to other theme parks. Disney really likes to take their time to build things and do them right. And I think that's what we're getting with Villains, because I want this done correctly. So if that means I have to wait till 2028 or 2029, I'm okay waiting. I just want them to do this right, and I want it to be awesome. And I think it will be. It probably will be earlier than that. But again, I'm very excited. Permits were filed Monday, I believe, to actually start this process. So Cars, I'm assuming, and Villains, you'll start to see things being taken out. They have not released any kind of dates for Cars or Villains or Monsters, but those should be starting. Actually, Monsters did get a construction date. I think these will start roughly around the same time as well in 2025. Cars did get that. Sorry. Villains really didn't, but Villains felt more blue sky art still. Like Villains still felt very much in the development phase, where I think Cars, they know exactly what they're putting in. And plus, I think they're going to go in order. So I think it'll go Cars 2025, 2026 is when they finish. And then they'll continue building on to Villains, because they'll want to complete Cars to make sure it aligns with what they're doing with Villains in the space that they have back there. So, but these are all projects that Josh said is no longer blue sky. These are all happening in development. So we're getting that for sure. So yeah, those were all of the announcements as far as D23. We have recapped it all. I wanted to get on here and kind of expand a little bit more on more of the information that we have now, because we have way more, and I was able to kind of collect my thoughts better here, because when it was happening live, it was chaos. But now that we have it all kind of settled in one place, What are your thoughts? Leave them in the comments below, or if you're listening to the podcast, listening to this back, we were live on YouTube and TikTok. So if you heard me reading off comments, I promise there's not like somebody in my ear or head talking to me. It was because we were doing this live, and I'll post this as a podcast because I think it's a good listen to kind of recap everything that we've missed maybe or didn't really discuss when it was happening live. So again, I'm so excited about the things coming to Disneyland, to the cruise lines, to Disney World. They delivered. I give Disney, again, still to this day, a 10 out of 10 for everything that they did, everything they delivered on, everything that they said. Now it's just about them doing it. And we'll grade them as time goes on all these expansions. Maybe we'll look back at maybe like a report card on how they really did based on the 2024 D23 Expo. Ashley and I are going to the D23 in 2026. I'm already making that a thing. So I can't wait to see what this expo is like in person. I can't wait to see Destination D23, which I think typically comes here to Walt Disney World. So we might even try to do some of that if we're able to get into those, because I know it's a little bit harder to get into because of tickets. But we will be trying to get as much as possible into D23 in 2026, because it skips every year. So every other year. And then Destination D23 is usually, I think, fall of the years in between. So yeah, a lot of exciting things coming to Walt Disney World and Disneyland Resort. I'm so excited about these things. Again, leave those in the comments below. What are you excited about? What are some things you might be sad about going? What are, let it all out. Positive, but let it all out. What are you sad about going? Why are you sad about it going? But try to keep it as positive as possible. I know it's difficult to lose some of these things because you do get so attached to this. And it's amazing. That's the last thing I kind of want to leave us off on, is that it is truly amazing that we have a company that does this to us, that makes us feel these kind of ways and react so strongly about things and be so excited about things and anxious and fearful of things that are coming or not coming, or we're like speculating, we're worried, we're happy, we're ecstatic. Like all these emotions start to come out. I was going to start naming all the Inside Out characters, but all these things come out of us, and there's not a company in the world that I can think of that do this. Well, maybe the Miami Dolphins. They make me very sad at times, but I don't think there's a company in the world that does this kind of stuff to people, where there's so much emotion wrapped up into it because of how much it has made us feel over time, whether we have worked there or not, whether we have visited or not, whether we're locals and visiting all the time, or people that come every year or every other year, or when you can afford to come. It means so much to so many people around the world. And I think that's why we all have those, and we're all allowed to have opinions. We're all allowed to have those feelings. I just don't like when the community goes after each other for those feelings, because everybody's feelings, I think, are validated in what we feel. I might voice something very strongly where I don't disagree with or agree with something. I try to stay as unbiased as possible and as positive as possible. But again, we're all human. We all react differently to different things. But thanks for joining this live. Thanks for interacting with me. It was a lot of fun answering some of these questions and talking about D23. I can't wait to visit in person in 2026. I'm looking forward to it. Let me know in the comments on YouTube, if you're watching this back, what are you excited about? Maybe share it with some friends. What are they excited about? What are some things that you're looking forward to coming in the next couple of years? 2025, we're seeing a lot of this stuff come to the parks. So maybe drop in the comments. What's the first thing you're getting ready to go see? You're going to go see the nighttime parade, or what is it? So again, thanks for watching this video. We hope to see you guys in the next video. Leave us a rate, like, subscribe, all sorts of different things. And we will hope to see you guys in the parks and in some of these lands coming up in the very near future, as Disney releases more and more info about some of the announcements from D23.